How are we doing, Raven fans, Oriole fans? Thank you for joining us here on this very special interview we have today of the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. If you want to go ahead and join us here with the Ravori Sports Podcast, definitely go ahead and subscribe on the YouTube channel. We thank all of you on the Twitter page, the Twitch page, and all that other stuff. We appreciate that. But definitely subscribe on the YouTube. Obviously, major announcement. It might have happening soon. Big deal, helping you get those jerseys and hats and everything, not only just on the Ravori Sports Podcast, but on all of my platforms here as well. And also, Genesis Notary Services, if it's in Winchester, if you know, right? Our notary business. Thank you, all of you that have reached out with the notary business, especially all of you business owners. Get on Google. That's how I get a lot of my phone calls. Google my business. People see me on Google. So definitely check it out here. And we got a very special guest. I don't even feel like I need to introduce him, right? Everybody knows. Man needs no introduction here. The largest, I think, 10,000, almost 9,000 followers as well. The only man, I think, in social media to interview the Lamar Jackson along with Engraven.
That's my guy.
As well. Clearly, I know, and I can hear it. He didn't say this to me, but I can hear it in the videos. Man of faith. I hear all the jokes, the Christian references as well. So it's an honor to have Nitro from the Wunderkind Show.
How you doing, man?
Welcome, Nitro. I think my daughter actually likes your videos more than mine with all the jokes and everything. She says she sees you and she starts laughing several times. She's like 9 years old. Now that's funny, Dad. She hits me with that. She got a smart mouth. Like, that's funny. All right. So, big day today as we're recording this. We were talking about it a little bit before the pod started. The GOAT, Justin Tucker, the last guy from the last time the Ravens won the title, is now officially been released by the Baltimore Ravens. I've been calling him the GOAT, Justin Tucker, for a long time because he's, I think, besides this last year, the best kicker, I think, career in the NFL history.
All time.
We could argue that or not. Where were you on the Tucker thing? I mean, we said we weren't surprised, but it's still kind of hitting us in a way because now it's actually here. It's over. The Tucker era is now over in Baltimore.
I felt like the Baltimore Ravens first off, thank you for having me. And I feel like the Ravens got tired of waiting. I think this is such a, you can look at it and say they might have had something or something came out. They don't know anything. The NFL has not released anything to the Baltimore Ravens in regards to Justin Tucker as of yet. They thought it should have been already wrapped up. It wasn't. If it wasn't wrapped up before the draft, there was a strong chance they would take a kicker in the draft or right after the draft. And as soon as we went on the board and said we're taking a kicker, it was over. We knew. So, it's kind of it's like bittersweet almost because a lot of us grew up watching Tucker for how many years here, kick game-winning kick after game-winning kick. He was an absolute staple. He was, one of the most well-respected Ravens of all time, top 5 at least, if you think about it. But once again, with all of the accusations and stuff going on, they didn't know anything. But once we took Loop, it was through the hoop. So
they're saying this is a football decision, right?
Yeah.
I think there's some truth to that. I think the accusations, I think that's not completely true, but there is some truth to that. He was not as good last year, not nearly what we've seen. And I do think there was some anxiousness to get him out. I think they wanted to do it during the season while the season was going on, but they've never drafted a kicker before. And this is brand new territory here. Do you think he latches on somewhere else?
Not before the NFL does their investigation. I'm going to be real with you. That's literally what this comes down to. The Ravens don't know if he's guilty or not. This is one of the times where it's a chess move. It's like, okay, do we keep him? He's the GOAT. He's an establishment within the Ravens community. regardless of what the accusation stays in establishment by himself. Do we want to keep him and then it could be negative and now we got to bite the bullet, right? Or he was already declining. People will be less mad at us for moving on from him. These are very egregious accusations. We're coming out on top, guys, to infinity and beyond. And they went into gloop. So that's where we're at now. And now we just moved on. So that's the kind of way I look at it. I think it's football. I don't think they know anything. And mind you, these guys, they're like friends with him off the field. A lot of their families and stuff do stuff together. You know, it's not coming from, because remember, I think ML Sports put out how he's been raising money for the Catholic Church through opera singing, and I think he sings in like 7 or 8 different languages.
He's a good opera singer. Justin Tucker, a lot of people don't know. Justin the GOAT, he's a good, literally a professional opera singer. He could have been a professional opera singer had he not been.
Yeah, he got that whole thing on lock. So, you know, so I from my perspective, I'm looking at it more like this was football because the Ravens were willing to break their rules for him. But then after you break rules, you have to look at it and say, how much are we like? Because you can never swear for anybody, right? You can't. And it's taking longer than they thought. They could be getting anxious. They know what the flock is saying. So they're like, bro, let's just move on. I'm telling you, it's the biggest cut bait. It's the safest time to cut bait for him from now. We got a guy. He looks great. The Raven flock has been telling that they want to move on. Once they took a kicker, it was set in stone. We already knew. Justin Tucker was trying whatever he could do to stick on the team. He was at rookie camp kicking. Before rookie, they're like, yo, you here? It's 3:00 in the morning. He's like, I'm just kicking, coach. I do it for you. But that didn't work. That didn't work. You know what I'm talking about. You know when you're in school and the report cards start coming up, so you start doing everything perfect because you know your grades ain't great. So now your parents are like, wait, what? Dishes washed? Floor clean? You know what I'm saying? So that's why
I do think the Ravens did want to do this for mostly football reasons. I don't want to go conspiracy theory because I don't know, but it is convenient that he had his worst season and all these accusations came out. Didn't come out last year. I'm just saying. But we've seen this with Earl Thomas before, kind of the same type of thing. Earl Thomas they weren't really happy with him on the field. All the stuff comes out. I'm not. Again, I don't know that, but I think maybe they wanted to move on. And I can say this too. Tucker's got a lot of supporters. I put it on the thing. Who do you want, Tucker or Luke? There was a lot of Justin Tucker. Even in
he's an establishment.
Everything, there was a lot of guys, a lot of Tucker.
Listen, they love Tucker. Let's not I've done how many episodes on Tucker. I know what the pulse is. You know what I mean? A lot of guys that have done this, so you should know it too. Anybody that's doing social media, content creation, we know what the pulse is because we be on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So you're catching what everybody is saying. So I already know what they're saying. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But there's a strong, undercurrent of people that are pro Tucker. And this is one of those things where you rip off the Band-Aid. That's pretty much that's what I believe the Ravens did. They ripped off the Band-Aid. Instead of letting the wound have a chance to fester and ruin other things for this season, they just ripped off the Band-Aid. They said, you know what, let's just move on, cut bait, and then, that's where it is. I'm actually kind of curious what Justin Tucker's going to say because he hasn't said anything yet. How he addresses the flock after being released after 13, 14 years. I'm anxious to see what he says because it could be like, this ruined my career. I thought I'd have a lot more years, or he could just say, thank you guys. I loved being here. This is where our family is. This is home. So, I'm very curious on what he says coming out.
I don't think he's going to be mad at the fans. I don't know what the reason would be where he'd be mad at the fans here. I don't know how mad he'd be at the coaches. And if this is true, I don't know how upset he want to be.
You have a point.
Yeah. I think they may have heard. They certainly, if I'm not saying it's true, if that's correct, they definitely possibly heard. Because here's the other thing: he for sure would have got a job without these allegations, and you cut Tucker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he'd already be signed right now.
He'd be waiting another team.
Even in spite of the team he had.
Oh my God, he'd probably be a Cowboy.
Let's talk about the draft. I wasn't as happy with the draft as a lot of people were. I thought the first 2 picks were really good. I thought there was some little discussions. They kind of hit food groups they needed to, but what was your overall thought of the Ravens draft?
B. That's a B. Like, you know what I'm saying? Peebles and Green saved the draft for me. If the Ravens did not get Green and Peebles, I would have graded it a D. 100%. Maybe a B minus. Because here's the thing, and I've said this so many times on my platform. The Ravens have had an offensive line problem for a multitude of seasons. You went into this offseason saying you have to address the O-line. You went into the draft saying you got to address the O-line. You left the draft saying you got to address the O-line, and now you're signing undrafted free agents saying you still got to address the O-line. So that's a problem, a major problem. Mind you, Warren Sharp came out with a plethora of statistics that backed up everything that I've been saying about Lamar and this team. The Ravens
Warren Sharp is phenomenal. Love Warren Sharp. Yeah,
great, amazing, and I believe he got a contract with ESPN exclusively, if I'm not mistaken. But he breaks down all this stuff, and it's exactly what I've been saying with the Ravens. We're Lamar dependent. If Lamar isn't perfect and dominating, we don't win. Last year, we lost every game where he did not have at least 114 passer rating. Do you know how rare that is? I think he tied or set the record for the highest, like, multiple games of passer ratings in a career over that number. Like, it's crazy. And the Ravens can't win.
And didn't win MVP. But that's a whole other
thing. And that's a whole other, that's a whole other thing. But it's like you're looking at the Ravens and you're saying you're not going to give him the best weapons. Raven fans have come to accept that. You're not going to go out there and get him one of those guys. You're not. Fine. No problem. You want to do it through the draft? Cool. Great. But guess what? If you're not going to give him the weapons, give him the protection. Tom Brady succeeded because he always had the protection. You understand where I'm coming from? He never had the quote-unquote best weapons, but he had good weapons with an amazing line for well over a decade. You know this if you watch enough football. Tom Brady used to sit back there, call Giselle, hey, babe. Yeah, these guys thought they're going to hit me. How are the kids? Oh, for real? What are we having tonight? I love that. Avocado ice cream to wash down the palate. You know what I'm saying? That's what he had enough time to do in the pocket. And then he would just, Tom Brady's the GOAT every single time. We're looking at our quarterback. We have the cheapest O-line, cheapest weapons, defense, who we give so much capital to of the team, and they be having lapses, not getting no turnovers. And for most of the year last year, we had one of the worst historical pass defenses in NFL history. No conjecture, all fact. But hey,
until the switch to a Darius, it was a train wreck. Yeah, I think that was huge when they actually put a Darius in. That was the biggest move, I think.
It was more moving Kyle Hamilton back. Because remember, and that's a double-edged sword, because what he did was he stabilized the back end with Ardarius, who we all love, right? But he was the one always forcing or helping to help teams commit turnovers. So now the guy that helps us create turnovers is now no longer able to do what he's best at doing. So now we're not creating turnovers, but he stabilized the back end.
It's like when you move a great shooter to point guard.
Yes.
You know, it helps you. Now you got point guard, but you're taking away from his offense.
Yes.
Magic Johnson could have scored more points had he been a shooting guard, but he was a point guard. That's exactly what Kyle Hamilton, which is why they drafted Malachi Starks, because they want to use Hamilton in that role you're talking about as well. The line picks, I didn't like them much. I thought they were measurable guys. Very small school guy, Vincent, might work out. I think for sure he has to sit. Emory Jones, there was a lot of those type guys at guard as well. Dellinger, I think they're going to try him at center. And you were just killing Noteboom. I saw like he was just destroying Noteboom. He was actually supposed to be the guy to replace Wentworth, and he struggled. He's going to replace McCarroll. I actually don't dislike it as much because he's for sure not going to start. He's only going to play a little bit.
We don't know that. The member, Maury has the labrum tear. He has the labrum tear. And remember, last year was Ronnie Stanley's first season of being healthy. In how many seasons? So my thing is, and I know it ruffles people's feathers the way I say it, but it is what it is. You hope for the best, you plan for the worst. That's the problem with the Ravens. They're like, oh no, it's okay. We have Lamar. Everything will be fine. Magical. He'll make it work. Oh, the line's not blocking. He'll dip, dive, duck, and dodge. He'll make it work. Receivers ain't catching the ball. He'll run for the first down. He's our everything. It's okay. Lamar's here. It's ridiculous. I said this to somebody. I said, Malachi, and shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take because I believe they're the first person to say this. They said, good player, bad pick. Right? Because once again, if we got Malachi Starks, let's say Malachi Starks balls out. You're like, oh, he nice, bro. Him and Hamilton, best safeties in the crew. We raving it up again. We got Ed Reed and Palomalu, right? If Lamar gets hurt, how many games we win? If Lamar Jackson gets hurt, how many games we win?
That's every team in the league, though. It doesn't matter. That's every team in the league. They did actually improve backup quarterback, too. Rush will give you at least 1 or 2 wins.
But I knew
with Josh Johnson wasn't going to give you anything.
I knew you were going to say that, and I said this on my thing. As I was ready for it. I was ready. I had that fastball lined up. Boy. Orioles need me there, bro, on the mound. Had that fastball lined up. Listen, go look at the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes. What's the record without Patrick Mahomes? Go look it up. Look at the Patriots record without before the last Brady when he fully left, when they actually had him and he was out. Go look what the records are for all the time Tom Brady sat out.
Matt Castle almost got him in the playoffs. Matt Castle actually got a big contract.
Yeah. So the thing is, everybody, and mind you, Joe Burrow's backup outplayed him last year. There's a lot of proof in the statistics that if they would have started the backup last year, the Bengals would have made the playoffs. So my thing is, it's not just it's the same thing what happened with Peyton Manning. Remember when Peyton Manning went down with the neck and they lost every game except for one, I believe. I believe they won one game. They went like 1-15. That's the Ravens. Peyton Manning's so great. That's what the Colts did. Oh, he's so great. Once he wasn't in there, the defense didn't look the same anymore, did it? No. The running game didn't look the same, did it? No. Nothing looked the same. We've already seen what this team looks like without Lamar. We lost, mind you, and I tell this to everybody, right? Because I know we're going to pivot soon. When the Bengals made the playoffs those 2 times, right?
Yeah.
Both of those times, Lamar Jackson was injured. Before he was injured, we had the best record in the AFC North both seasons, and in the first season when he got hurt, we had the best record in the whole AFC. So we're talking about night and day when he's playing and when he's not playing. It's not like that for all of the other teams. They have enough team built around the team itself that even if the quarterback goes on, they can still muster some wins. We barely averaged 10 points when the second year when Lamar went down. First year we couldn't win no games. Remember, we lost 5 or 6 straight games, And then the following year, when he got hurt, we averaged 10 points a game.
Well, Tyler Huntley, you saw that last year where in Miami, they didn't even look like the same football team. I mean, they even with Tyreek Hill, et cetera, they didn't even look like the same.
But Tyreek was hurt too. Remember, Tyreek was hurt. Tua was hurt. Waddle was slightly injured. It was a overall hurt, and then one of the running backs was hurt. They were overall injured.
Yeah, but with Tua Tagovailoa in the game, that was a whole different.
The year before,
right?
The year before, not last year, wasn't it? Last year he was just okay.
But last year, I think he missed. Last year, I think Tua missed like 5 games.
Yeah, and look at some of the games. You'll be like, he was already playing suspect. So that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing with Joe Burrow. He was already playing suspect. The backup comes in. What did they go? When the backup came in with Joe Burrow, they won like 2 or 3 games.
They were very good. You don't know that the Bengals year before that's absolutely right. They were like 9-8, and Burrow didn't even hardly play at the end of the year.
So, my thing is, once again, if Lamar goes down, this whole team, our whole year is done. Whole year. So my thing is, if he's the most important player, you got to protect him. Not just from the opponents who are allowed to hit him illegally. Mind you, that's the context to it. They're allowed to beat him up, cheap shot, hit him late. Think about it.
Because he's a runner. Because he's a runner.
Because he's Lamar. Because Patrick Mahomes runs around the place. They ain't allowed to touch him. God forbid somebody touch one of those bangish brunette strands across his eyes. You know what I'm saying? And they ready to punch. The referee will punch you in your face. How dare you touch the king? How dare you?
Patrick Mahomes runs like a female gym teacher.
Bro, you ever see?
I mean, he just. I mean, I'm surprised he ever picks up a yard. I think he's a little fat. Yeah, he's a little faster than what people think he is. I think that's some of it, but I think he just because they can't hit him. He runs like a quarterback, not like a running back. Lamar just blows past everybody.
The reason why he doesn't get hit the way because they know if they hit him, they can lose game checks and everything else. We've seen him try to do foolishness and people blow him up and the flag gets thrown. It's like, what flag for what? You know what I'm saying? So, and we've seen it. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, and when you're allowed, people understand how you're officiating. In every sport, soccer, basketball, they understand the officiating. The officials already let you know, don't you dare touch any curls on the top of that brother's head. You don't see Taylor Swift watching? You don't see, now you got bad blood. You don't want no bad blood with me. That's exactly what they say to everybody. We watched how the Chiefs looked with the refs, without the refs. You're just not allowed to touch Mahomes. The problem with Lamar is, and you can't touch Josh Allen either. So the only big-time quarterback that I've seen take hits is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and Lamar will get plastered. Pause. You feel me? But they're the only two. Everybody else gets super protected. And then they say it was because Lamar runs a lot. Now all the quarterbacks run now.
Is it over real quick? I wasn't going to go here, but since you brought up the chefs, is it over for the chefs this year?
Chefs?
The Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I never count.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I say that on the channel like somebody might not know who I'm talking about. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're not done. They're not done. No. Now, as long as
I think they are. I don't think they are. I don't think they win the division this year. They got, and I know Mahomes is there. They had a lot of one score wins last year.
Yeah,
a lot of holes on offensive line. Lost
they're going to score a lot. They're going to score a lot, but turn the ball over a lot this year. I touched on this before. I think Mahomes throws for 40 touchdowns this year, but he throws for around 18, 19 interceptions. He has the fast receivers, right? I think he's going to make – you can see he wants to bomb away, but when Tyreek left, they just didn't have the personnel to do so. Now he got Hollywood Brown, and he got what's his name? The fastest. What did he run? The fastest.
Xavier Worthy, you're talking about.
Xavier Worthy. So they got Hollywood Brown, who's now fully healthy, and Xavier Worthy on the outside. And you still got Travis Kelce, even though he's a shell of himself. He's
Rodney
still
Wright. Rashee Rice is back.
Rashee Rice also. So you're gonna run. So I expect them to run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Rashee Rice runs the middle routes, the shallow routes, and then those other 2 guys look to take the top off. And you have 2 guys legit who can outrun any safety in the league. So I think he's going to take a lot of shots this year, which is going to have some explosive plays. But I think because they're smaller receivers, they're not as stocky as a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is fat, he's built like a running back. You know what I mean? The strength. I think they're going to get bodied out for some of them shots, and they're going to turn into interceptions.
We'll pivot here, but Shedeur, I was defending Mel. Get off Mel, because we've never seen this. Like, you talked about how much we like the Mike Green pick. Mike Green actually had, and this is not breaking news, sexual assault allegations in high school and in college. Whether it's true or not is not the point. He was a top 10 pick, possibly top 15. He dropped to 59. Shedeur was a top 10 pick, possibly. He dropped to the 5th round. Like, unprecedented. I've never seen a guy fall that far. Was it Deion's fault?
I'm not going to say it's Deion's fault.
Well, let me rephrase the question. The Deion's what I thought was Deion, the fact that if it didn't work out, teams were going to try and hire Deion for the next coach with Shedeur.
I read up on that.
And I think that was the main reason why he didn't get hired. Miss me with the gold chains and all that other stuff. Just stop all that.
As much as it's a layered question, because Deion had a part to play. Here's the thing. Deion is allowed to be Deion because he's a cornerback, right? Cornerbacks and wide receivers, as everybody knows, historically speaking, have been the divas of the quote-unquote divas of the NFL, right or wrong. So Deion's never had, even though he's built up teams, helped teams win Super Bowls, he was never the proverbial face of the team. Even when he was in Atlanta, where you can make the argument he was never the true face. The face of every team is the quarterback. And when you're the quarterback, a lot of times they want you to fall into a very strict mold because you're the CEO of the company, right? You might not own the whole company, but you're the CEO. And they want them to move a certain way, talk a certain way. That's another reason why, and I made the comparisons, why Lamar rubbed so many of them the wrong way. You got this kid that's coming in here, extremely Southern, got that Southern drawl to him, right? He's authentically 100% himself. He speaks his mind, right? Even if he's kind, he's nice, he does all these things. They're looking at it like he don't fit the mold. And so that's what you got with Shedeur. Shedeur had that brash cockiness from a corner or a wide receiver persona. Even though he trains like a madman, even though he puts the time and effort in, they don't look at it like that. And I'm not saying they're right for doing that. What I'm saying is I'm saying part of the reason why they did what they did. And I don't agree with it because we've seen a lot of guys who don't fit the mold become the mold that you respect. That's a bar. You understand where I'm coming from? That's a bar.
You're talking about race a little bit, right? It's
an undertone, but not everything.
I always say what Lamar is similar to Allen Iverson. There's just some people just don't rock with it. They're just the undertone of race is there. It's not just we don't like him because he's African American, which is crazy. Pat Mahomes is African American for the most part. You got other quarterbacks that are African American, Geno Smith, etc. They're African American, but Lamar looks like he's from around the way, like you said. Very Southern draw, cornrows, doesn't have an agent, doesn't hang around a lot of the stuff, that stuff. They hate that. In that, so I think that is the thing. And Shedeur, I think that's correct. But Shador grew up not like Lamar. Lamar didn't have anything growing up, from when I understand, relatively speaking, compared to Shador also, at least.
When you're authentically yourself, a lot of times you can't be bought. Shador, when you're dealing with someone like Shador, who's been around money his entire life, his father is one of the greatest 20 players to ever lace up cleats in NFL history. You're used, like Tom Brady was one of his quarterback coaches. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not much he hasn't been around or seen. So what ends up happening is that when you approach him, he doesn't have that same, I'm going to do whatever you want, coach. I'll burn up that mountain and eat the grass if you want me to, man. I'm trying to make it, man. My family done lived in a 900 square foot home and there was 9 of us. He don't got that story. So when he comes to you, he's like, what about the X's and O's? Let's talk about the X's and O's. Well, let's talk about your background. You know about my background. You know about my father. You know he's him. And I plan on being him also. So what about the X's and O's? Like, what do you see this way? Coaches have to come at him differently. The same way that they would approach another quarterback, another player. They can't talk. The man has already had, at his age, Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, Benzes, all that stuff. Been on commercials. So there's no, like, remember when people are joining college a lot of time, and that was even if you ever watched the movie He Got Game?
Oh, one of my favorite movies, the Denzel movie with Shuttlesworth. Yeah, I still call Shuttlesworth Ray Allen Shuttlesworth to this day.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So you remember what they did to get him to get to the school. You saw some of the things. They can't approach Shador like that.
We can't talk about it on camera. Yeah, like some of the stuff.
Yeah. You can't do that with Shador. You can't. He's seen it, been there, done that. So now it's strictly just football. Your acumen to football, your intelligence toward football, your work ethic toward football, your approach to football. And if you're lacking in any of those things, he'll look at you like, because that's all he's lived and breathed his entire life. So I did not want him in the AFC North at all. He's going to be a star.
I didn't either. I'm glad that I didn't either. I'm in this Drive to the Top Productions, and they were like Steeler fan, and I was hoping as well. He was hoping they didn't get him, and I was hoping that the Steelers didn't get him. Mike Tomlin for sure, and the Browns. I think he's going to start there. I'd be surprised if it's not him. Maybe not at the start of the year, but I think at some point he's going to start. He's going to have to.
He's going to have to. If the Browns don't brown this up, they got their franchise right there. Mind you, his jersey's already sold out. He has the highest selling rookie jersey right now. Like, he's already a star.
Yeah. I do want to talk to you real quick about one thing. Well, we talked about it a little bit. You've actually met Lamar. I don't know how well you know how.
3 times.
I don't know that far.
3 times.
What is your impression of the Jackson family as individuals in terms of not just football, but as far as his mom is on his team, his rest of his family is.
I've never really met his family.
Yeah,
never really met his family. I'm honest. I don't sugarcoat anything. They're very private. Very private. They don't say much. I've seen his brother twice, and they don't say much. Just that's about it. They don't say much. They're very to themselves. The mom I've met once, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. She looked at me like, if you try anything, I'm gonna knock you out. That's the energy I came up for, bro. Lamar was all, hi, what's good, bro? His mom was looking at me like straight up, like if you do anything, you don't gotta worry about Lamar.
Yeah,
you don't gotta worry about Lamar. You gotta worry about
moms are like that, right? I mean, none of them are. we used to that.
Honestly, I tell people this. I didn't hate it. Because at the end of the day, it's not just her client, it's her son. Mm-hmm. So I had no problem with it. You know what I'm saying, at all. But Lamar is so personable. The guy has a smile from one ear to the other. He's just easy to talk to. As it's easier to talk to him than he is even talking to you. That's how personable he is. You forget that he's Lamar for a second. Mind you, when he first walked in, you can ask Ing Raven if you ever get a chance to do anything with Ing Raven. Shout out to Ing Raven, that's my guy. He was floating. When I said this story on my platform, I said, I swear to you, bro, he came out in a pink hoodie, and then I saw him just walk out, and he went, and when he pulled like this, the light hit his braids, and it like created like an elegant lit light mist over his head, and he just started floating. I swear to God. And ask Ing if y'all like, yo, Ing, is he floating? He's like, his feet's not touching the ground. His feet's not touching the ground. I said, okay, I thought it was me. And then he came and was like, yo, what's up? I was like, yo, what's up? Dead serious with you. But it was one of the.
I'm not sure I believe that story, but it's a funny story anyway. It's hilarious.
Floating. Forget Air Jordan. He was floating, bro. I'm dead serious with you, bro.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
If you ever have a chance to meet him, ask him. He gonna be like, I don't like talking about my floating ability. I'm dead serious, mate. Not you. I'm dead serious with you.
Let's talk about the Wunderkind Show. I'm dying to ask you, where did the name come from? I've been watching it for 2 years and I have no idea where that name come from. It sounds like a superhero name.
Wunderkind.
Wunderkind. That's what's
Wunderkind.
What Wunderkind? What is
Wunderkind? It's a German word. It's a German word.
It is.
Yeah.
Why is an African American man picking a German word?
So, have you ever watched The Office?
Yeah. Yeah, my sister-in-law, that's her favorite show, The Office.
Okay, so if you watch The Office, there was a scene with Ryan. You know who Ryan is. Remember he had finished college. He was working in the office, and they put him up in the corporate.
The younger one.
Yeah, the younger one.
Right.
And he was just like, and I'll never forget it because listen, my vocab is very robust. When you get down to it and I start talking, I have a very, very large vocabulary. But I was watching it and it made me laugh because he was just like, I'm not saying I made it or anything, but people are starting to call me a Wunderkind. Do you know what I'm saying? And I found it hilarious. And pretty much it just means it is somebody young that's achieved a great deal of success. That's pretty much the premise. Or a genius, a young genius. So the Genius Show. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So that I just loved it. And I said to myself, people will be like, they'll make the Wonder Kid. I know they're going to do stuff like that and mess it up, but it's so distinct. It's so, you don't see nothing like it. So it stands out when you do see it. And my personality stands out when you meet me. So I wanted something that not only dabbled or touched on my intellect, but I wanted it to also to touch on my personality. And that's what it means. That's the incorporation of the Wunderkind Show. So that's how I got it from The Office. Shout out, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time.
Okay, all right. Well, you and my sister-in-law will get along great. She watches The Office every week. Matter of fact, the right now the Wi-Fi in the house is Office reference. I think. Yeah. She loves the Where did you get the concept for what you do? Because you're right when you say there's nobody like you. The name is different. The whole vibe is different. High energy. What was your training like before you became? I heard you say you was in Twitter Spaces before you had. What was your training before your run in the last couple of years?
I grew up in church. So one thing, if you grew up in church, like really grew up in church, know that
you have no idea.
So you know where I'm going with this. When you grew up in church, church is full of characters. and you learn different things from all of the different characters. And I grew up as somebody that was always in the spotlight because I grew up playing drums. So I started playing drums when I was about 7 years old. So I was always the kid that was in the front or singing in the choir, certain stuff like that, going to competition. So you had to have that charisma. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to go up there and be like, the old rugged cross. They ain't that type of church. I'm Jamaican. You had to be like, oh, 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 the road, the old rugged cross. You know what I'm saying? You had to give extra. You had to give that energy. You know what I'm saying? In anything that you do. And
my church growing up was exactly like that. The high praise church, everybody's hooting and all. It's absolutely right. Yeah, I got it. I catch all those references. That's how I knew.
So you understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. So that mixed into my creativity, it just kind of came together. Mind you, this is a story that not a lot of people know this. I think only Ing Raven, your boy Rock Lee know about this, and I'm gonna tell you. So everybody knows about my sounds, right? Which is kind of synonymous with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got it. The timing, because it's not a regular soundboard. It's not. I'm not this rich guy that's just doing all this and throwing money everywhere and all this stuff. My donations that paid for a lot of things, I rigged it through my Stream Deck. So when I press a button, a lot of times it doesn't automatically react. It's timing, and the timing came from my drumming. Always understanding when the drop was happening, and you have that metronome in your head, that natural metronome, because it's been owned well over 2 decades, right? I use those skills to be able. So when I hit the slap, there's a slight delay. So when I hit it, it's like pop, and then I hit the slap. If you ever notice that, my hand will go like this, and you'll hear go, ah, and then it just comes out. It's almost like you're hitting a cymbal at the bottom drop of the the 4 count. Yeah. So it's just all of my life skills growing up, being me, the way I was in certain things, and just being authentically once again myself. That's the Wunderkind Show in its entirety, right? I grew up in church, so I don't do all the cursing and stuff like that. I'm a man of faith, so there's certain things you're not going to get from me. But high energy, high character, laughing a lot. That's just growing up in certain situations and just giving it your all at every minute. You know what I'm saying? And people recognize that, they hear that, they feel that. A lot of times you can hear what somebody says, but you're not feeling what they say. When I'm talking, I want people to feel what I'm saying. I want them to think about it. I want it to resonate to their subconscious, to their gone psyche, somewhere in their mind, even in their dream.
Yeah. You know Denzel, the Denzel, you listening, but you ain't hearing me. You want him to. Yeah.
So that's where that comes from, and that's what I represent, and that's what I hope everybody gets from. And I'm actually flattered that you even said there's no one like you. I love that. That stuff like that. I'd be like, thank you. That means a lot.
I've been watching shows, sports content for. When I was younger, I didn't do the music stuff. I always did sports shows and radio. I've never seen anything like what you're doing. So absolutely take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Where do you think we are in media? Where do you think is that? You're out here, you're doing well. You're mentioning Graven. He's goated, right? We know this. He's got 50,000, 70,000. I don't even know the number.
It's almost 90.
I have no doubt he's going to be at 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. Where do you think it is overall in media? I'm asking this question, but definitely somebody like you, because I don't think you would exist in a traditional media setting, right? I don't think that would. What do you think that is overall?
I'll say this. I agree with you. I wouldn't exist in the regular media setting, and the reason why is because I'm not narrative based. The media has gone away from truth. And it's mostly narrative based on everything. So even if they know the facts, but the narrative is saying something else, they'll go with the narrative. That's what you see with the Allen Iversons, with all the accusations when he was coming in to it, and they kept feeding into, oh, he's a thug, he's this, he's that. Same thing with Lamar Jackson, same thing with Shedeur Sanders. They create narratives around a player, and they don't allow that player to grow. They don't allow that player to make mistakes. They just say who's the good guys, who's the bad guys, and you have to play your part. If you're a good guy, eventually you might fall, but then you'll have your rise again, like Jesus from the tomb. You know what I'm saying? If you're a bad guy, you were made to lose. Everything about you is evil. You know, everything about you bothers me. You know what I'm saying? I could spin everything that you do to be negative. You understand where I'm coming from? And that's why I don't think I'd be able to work in those settings, because I'm going to tell you the truth. It's the same thing. Like, I'm a Raven fan, but I still say Joe Burrow's the top 5 QB in the league. Josh Allen was given an MVP he did not deserve. Lamar deserved it, but Josh Allen's still a top 5 QB in the league.
We're not going there. Yeah, I got you.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. In my estimation, she's top 3 in the league. You know what I'm saying? Because I've said this before. The Holy Trinity in the NFL right now is Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Everybody else is on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Even though all the stuff that has happened with Bills fans, I still say that because that's truth. The truth of sports doesn't need anything more. Just be yourself and tell the truth. But now it's like, no, I want to hate this player because I feel like if I hate this player, I'll go viral for hating this player, and then that's the narrative I'll run with. I don't agree with that. I don't.
I think, though, you're right. I think being authentic is important in social media, in new media. People can sense it. People can feel you out. There's only so much faking that you can do in this media, and so I think like it absolutely shines through your authenticness, even with all the boisterousness that you have. It doesn't feel fake. It feels like it's really you. One more thing, real quick. I think Lamar is QB1 in the league had it not been for the lack of playoff success. Where are you on that?
He's QB1 right now. He's been QB1 for the last 2 years. Lamar, I want you to understand this. Lamar's a 3-time All-Pro. He has more All-Pros than Patrick Mahomes. I believe he's tied with Tom Brady or one away from Tom Brady, something like that. I think he's 3rd all-time in quarterback All-Pros. Like, we're talking about a transcendent player that comes around once every generation or two. Literally. We're not talking about a player that worked it's just hard work and they were on a great team and then everything worked out well for them. No, we're talking about a player that not just works hard, but had the physical God-given gifts and abilities to set himself apart from his contemporaries. I'm talking to somebody. You see where I'm coming from? Those little minute changes of speed that he can make in a fraction of a second differentiates him between every quarterback in the league. Because now you're not saying, well, he's a mobile quarterback, a running quarterback. He's the running quarterback. He's the mobile quarterback.
All that he can't pass stuff is over with now. Nobody says that. That's done. You sound silly saying it.
How could you say the man just passed for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions? He just had one of the greatest statistical passing seasons in NFL history. The reason why people do not gravitate towards Lamar is because they once again created a narrative around him and they stuck to it. So now, with all the greatness that he does, they lean in. That's why they lean so hard into, oh, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. But then you ask, well, none of these other guys won the Super Bowl. Oh, but Lamar's a little different. He has all this ability. He didn't say that when he was getting drafted. That's what I mean about sticking to the script. Instead of admitting that you were wrong and growing from that, you say, no, we're going to double, triple down. And then I already know what the media will do. They will see him once he wins the Super Bowl. I say he's going to retire with at least 2. I'm letting you know that now. You can hold me to that. Once he gets his second title, they're going to act like they didn't say anything. They're going to erase some of the stuff that they said. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, oh, we always knew he was capable of this. We just wanted him to show the world. No, you didn't. You said he couldn't throw. You said he should have been a wide receiver. You said he shouldn't even be given an opportunity to play the position. So that's where it comes from with that. So he's QB1 undoubtedly. And I think he becomes QB1. Barring injury, he'll be QB1 again this season. And I think he throws for not only 4,000 yards this season, I think he throws for another 40 touchdowns. I think he throws for around 5 interceptions also, but I think he rushes for 1,000 yards this year. I think I think this is the year everything comes together, and he says he's not losing. And regardless of what his team is doing, he's going to drag them over that finish line. And I think this is going to be the year where he stamps himself as being one of the greatest to ever have played the game. Forget being a great quarterback and one of the greatest quarterbacks. I think he cements his legacy as saying he's one of the greatest players to ever put on cleats.
Drop the mic. Awesome. As far as narratives you write, and I'll say this, like I tell my daughters this, you want to be right in life or do you want to get it right? You know, it's obviously he's the guy right now, but you can stick to that narrative.
I like that. That's nice.
Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on YouTube at the Wunderkind Show or the Wunderkind Morning Show, which we go live every Monday through Thursday, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. in the morning times. And Fridays, I go live on the regular Wunderkind Show where I'm doing the bread box for my church, and we're picking up all of the bread and stuff like that, and to give out to the people that's less fortunate or people that need it in the area. So yeah, so 5 times a week, definitely live. And if you can't catch me on there, catch me on Twitter or TikTok, the Wunderkind Show. It'll come up. You'll see me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nitro. And thank you, all of you out there watching. I'm sure y'all enjoyed this, as I absolutely did. Thank you very much for joining us here for the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. We will see you. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great day.